So I've already tried to make this video, didn't realise that as I am filming, my camera is taking pictures of nearly every single frame and it has been clogging up my memory card. So I just had to delete a load of stuff off my memory card of pictures that were taken when I didn't realise they were being taken. So let's try this again, shall we? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie, and regulars, come on, let's do it. I read a lot of books. Today's book is That Night by Gillian McAllister, and that is the front cover of this book. I'll get straight in with that blurb, it's fairly short and sweet. What would you do to protect your family? Anything. During a family holiday in Italy, you get an urgent call from your sister. There's been an accident. She hit a man with her car and he's dead. She asks for your help. She'd cover for you, so will you do the same for her? But when the police come calling, the lies start, and you begin to doubt one another. What really happened that night? Who is lying to who? And who will be the first to crack? People that know me, either through YouTube or in my personal life, will know that that is right up my street. A good mystery. It's 464 pages in contemporary fiction and crime and thriller with a target audience adult. I read this on my library app BorrowBox. I have no idea if it's an all-over library thing or if it's just connected to Leeds libraries, which is where I live, Leeds. Where to start? So let's introduce you to the main characters. So you've got the siblings, all surnamed Plant, and they run a vet practice together. So you've got Joe, Franny and Catherine. Franny is the one that's in the accident and calls Joe in the middle of the night while they're in Verona saying, "Oh my god, I just hit a person with my car, come help me." And Kathy goes out with Joe to help Franny. They see a very dead man on the floor and there's nobody around. Their holiday home in Verona is like miles away from civilization, and so they know they're not going to be caught in the middle of the night with a dead body. As vets, they don't really know much about the human body, but they know that this guy is very, very dead. And as they try to find out from Franny what happened, she admits that she waited half an hour before calling Joe. What happened that night comes out in increments throughout the book, though that night of the title refers to other nights as well. Yeah. So Franny admits that she ran into him in the middle of the night, no idea why he was there. She tells her siblings that she wasn't going very fast, she felt like she was going quite slow, and that she just couldn't stop. It's also implied that she may have hit him twice, and after finding out that the man has been dead for about half an hour and that Franny did not make any attempt to revive him and waited for half an hour to call her siblings even for help, Joe goes into tidy up mode and says, at this point we might as well just bury him, instead of calling the police and getting themselves into even more trouble, which I think the idea of just burying a random dead body instead of calling the police in the first place is probably getting them into more trouble, which does lead on to the rest of the book. But yeah, it seems that Kathy seems to be the most sane one in all of this, but you do find out that Joe has got quite a temper. He can get very, very angry, and there are moments in the book where he like punches his hand into a wall and stuff, with the siblings going like, what the actual F, mate, what you doing? But the siblings are aware of his anger issues. You also see Joe's relationship with his wife Lydia, and how him keeping this secret with his siblings is affecting his marriage. You also see Franny's relationship with her son Paul. I want to say it's about 3 or 4. You do have a bit of a time jump happening, because I say a time jump, it's not the biggest time jump, I think it's about a year or so, because you see present day chapters where you see one of the siblings talking to somebody about what happened that night, and it's not explicitly stated who that person is until about halfway through the book, but you do have process of elimination, because the person in those chapters who is talking about that night does refer to Jo, and then there comes a point when that person starts talking about Franny. So by power of deduction, you do get the idea that it's Kathy, which you get confirmation of about halfway through the book. You do find out eventually, I say eventually, it's around about the same time that you find out who is narrating those chapters, because all the then referring to like the Verona chapters, it's done in the third person. So you've got the different chapters from Catherine, Jo and Franny, but in the third person while they're in Verona, but in the present day it's all done in the first person. So yeah, there was a point when through those modern day chapters where it's not explicitly stated that it's Kathy talking to this person about what happened in Verona and what was happening, and you know, it's obvious that there's something happening in regards to one of the siblings kind of turning on the rest of them. It's about that kind of the trust that the siblings have and the idea that one of them is going against that trust, which, as I said, eventually you do find out it's Kathy who is actually talking to a lawyer, and they're getting ready for a trial against someone in regards to what happened in Verona and what happened afterwards. But yeah, you do find out through Kathy's chapters in the present, where she's talking to the lawyer, that somebody else does die, and throughout a lot of it, I was just there trying to figure out who it was, because I was in the point when it was just like, it can only be one of two people, and it's one of the siblings who it feels like everybody's going to turn on, and the guy who works for them at the vet, because he's described as being quite a slimy person who has a habit of just asking the girls out and just being a bit weird, but at the same time he's good at his job, so they don't really have any reason to fire him. It gets all very complicated. But yeah, throughout the book you do find out that between the three of them, they all confide in somebody about what happened in Verona, and yeah, it's one of those things where you've got siblings that are too reliant on each other, they're too close, I think, to be able to think rationally, because you find out that there was another sibling who died when they were quite young. It's said that the other sibling, Rosie? I think the other sibling was called Rosie, died when she was about 7 years old. But they say it was SIDS, which you don't really see in older kids. I wasn't really sure of that, but apparently it is a thing. But a lot of the time you see it in like babies. But yeah, it's described as being SIDS, and throughout the book I kept thinking there was going to be more to it, but it doesn't really come back to it that much. But what happened the night that sibling died does tie into one of the siblings' secrets about what they were doing the night that the sister passed away. And yeah, so they all have these little secrets. Franny's secret has to do with the father of her son and what happened the night that the man in Verona died. And then you've got Jo's secrets, which again are tied up in Franny's secret and the fact that he's lying to his wife, though as I said, all three siblings do confide in somebody else at some point, which does lead to a bit of a blow up on Jo's part when he finds out that other people know. And it's just like, well, he also did, well actually did he tell Lydia? I don't think he did. No, I don't think he did tell Lydia. I think he kind of did a bit of a white lie situation where he told Lydia part of it but not all of it. So Lydia never actually finds out what exactly Franny did. Yeah, it's just lots of like misdirection, but it all comes back to the fact that these three siblings rely on each other so much since the death of their sibling when they were kids. This is a very, very close-knit family, and all three siblings live right next door to each other, which I found really, really weird. They, like, as the cottages were becoming like, were like freeing up, the other siblings just went, oh, I'll buy that, and then we'll all live in a row together. And as somebody who just doesn't have that relationship with my sibling, it's just like, I love my sister, but I would not want to live right next door to her. Plus, I know my brother-in-law would take advantage of that. But yeah, it's a really, really good book with lots of twists and turns, and it was just really good, and trying to figure out where the hell it was going to go, especially when it becomes a bit of a courtroom drama. More about just over halfway through the book, when in the modern day you find out, oh, somebody is on trial for what happened in Verona, and then you realise it's also connected to somebody else's death that happened after Verona, and it's just like, it's all the things they do to protect each other and the lies and the secrets and how it affects the people around them, and oh, so good, so good. But yeah, that was Gillian McAllister's That Night I Learned How Far I'd Go to Protect My Sister. Ta-da! Yeah, so memory card's acting up again, so let's try and wrap this up now. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Thanks, my lovely people. See ya!